Alrighty, and welcome back, folks, to our last ECHL standings update for today, the 21st of March, 2023. Going to get right into it with the ECHL's Mountain Division. As most of you folks know, the Mountain Division is the only division in the ECHL up to right now that has been clinched by the Idaho Steelheads. And we're going to go ahead and just jump right into things. Idaho had 3 wins last week. They're up to 48 on the year. And the Steelheads did have scored 15 goals last week, 129 allowed. Just 7 goals. And then the Kansas City Mavericks, still with 27 victories, they lose for the 25th time. And Utah, still with 29 wins, they lose for the 28th time. Dropping that elimination number there down to 12, 29, 28, 3, and 0 for the Grizzlies. And for the Mavericks, 27 wins, 25 regulation losses, 6 overtime losses, and 2 shootout losses for Kansas City so far this year. Kansas City with 187 goals scored. Last week they scored 6 goals, while allowing now 196 on the year. They gave up 5 last week. The Grizzlies now, goals scored on the year, 181 of those, which means last week they were able to score 9 goals in their series in Allen. And the thing we're going to look at here for you folks is we're going to look at the schedules for all of these teams. And just kind of give you a quick little snapshot as to what I think is going on or what will happen this week. The Wichita Thunders get their 28th victory. Dropped Tulsa's elimination number down to 8, Rapid City down to 12, and then Allen was able to leapfrog ahead of them in the standings, as the Thunder still have 28 regulation losses. And then 5 overtime losses. Still haven't lost in a shootout so far this year for the Thunder. Scored just 5 goals all week, up to 190 that they've scored, 196 allowed. Scored 5 goals, allowed 6 did the Thunder. And the Allen Americans had a great week last week. 30 wins now on the year for Allen. And then 27 regulation losses for the Americans, as well as 1 overtime loss and 1 shootout loss. That was their first shootout loss of the year. Scored 214, allowed 220. Scored 14 goals last week, allowed 9. Things are always very, very interesting for the Americans. Dropped Tulsa's elimination number down to 8, and Rapid City's down to 11. And then the Rapid City Thunder, or Rapid City, I always do that. Rapid City Rush, that's been the 6th time that I've made that mistake, and I am so sorry about that. The Rapid City Rush grabbed 2 wins. Dropping Tulsa's elimination number down to 9. So it's now down to single digits for the Oilers, 29, 31, and 0 for the Rush, with 202 goals for, 224 against. Last week they scored 13 goals while allowing 8. The Oilers now, still those 19 wins, lose twice more in regulation, dropping that elimination number down to 6 for the playoffs, and then 7 for everything else. And then the refresh. Are the Oilers 175 goals for, 227 against. Scored 8, but allowed 13 last week. So again, with Idaho clinching, we will go over once again just how the ECHL's playoffs are set, what that will be for each individual division. The playoff format for each individual, for each team, is that the division winner will then play the fourth place team in a best of 7 series in the first round, and then the second place team and the third place team will then play one another, and then the winners of those 2 series will play one another for the quote-unquote postseason division championship. So again, as that stands right now in the Mountain Division, that would be Idaho taking on Utah, by virtue of Utah's tiebreaker over Wichita. They both currently have 61 points on the standings on the season, but Utah has both winning percentage as well as 24 regulation wins. Excuse me. So as the season stands right now, it would be Idaho taking on Utah in the first round, and then Allen would play Kansas City. Some very, very entertaining hockey coming up in terms of that. What we're going to go ahead and do, though, now, again, that's just what is on tap. Of course, that has, obviously, with everything being as close as it is, there's only 3 points that are separating second place from sixth place in the Mountain Division right now. So a lot of potential movement going on in that Mountain Division. Unfortunately, there are going to be 2 of these teams that are going to miss the playoffs, even though they're playing incredibly well. Those 59 points, by the way, wouldn't be enough to make the playoffs, but the 61 would be enough, and still wouldn't be enough to make the playoffs. But again, a lot of those teams are being held down because of, going up against the buzzsaw that is the Idaho Steelheads. But that's not to say that those teams aren't as good as other teams are. You can just ask Fort Wayne how good Allen is. They had to go down to Central Texas and play the Americans. But Cincinnati's going to find out this week as well how tough Utah is. What we're also going to do is going to go over the schedules for all of these teams and then just kind of recap the magic numbers for all the teams as well. So we're going to go ahead and get started with that, with the Idaho Steelheads. Currently 12 games remaining left on their schedule, 99 points in the standings currently. They have clinched the Mountain Division and are currently 10 points ahead of Cincinnati with 12 games left to play for the Brabham Cup. That is the points championship in the Kelly Cup in the regular season. For the Idaho Steelheads, they have clinched, obviously, that home and ice advantage in that first round. For the Steelheads this week, they will be at the Allen Americans on Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. For Allen, their magic number is 6 for them to eliminate Tulsa. Again, with their tiebreaker, they are plus 10, but with the Oilers having 13 games left, we cannot take any games off of that. 6 for Tulsa, 5 or 11, for Rapid City. That is accurate, and that is the same number for Wichita. Magic number there being 11. And then for the Americans to eliminate both Kansas City, so it is going to be 12 to eliminate Utah, and then 13 to eliminate Kansas City as of right now for the Americans. And the Americans, as I mentioned this week, they will be hosting Idaho for 3 games. Kansas City is going to be next up on our list. They played Tulsa 3 times this week. They will be hosting Tulsa on Friday and Saturday before taking that trip over to Oklahoma on Sunday. So 3 games set for Kansas City. By the way, Allen, their magic number to clinch the playoffs is 11, and with 3 games they can drop that down to 8. And then Rapid City plays 3 games, and Wichita also plays 3 games. So the most that they can get it down to is 5. With the Oilers playing 3 games, they can eliminate the Oilers from second place in the division this week if everything goes to plan there. Magic number is 6 for Kansas City to eliminate the Oilers. And the magic number to eliminate Rapid City and Wichita is 11. And then it is 12 to eliminate the Utah Grizzlies. Again, Kansas City this week playing the Oilers 3 times. Utah will host Cincinnati on Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. So Tulsa and Kansas City, along with Allen and Idaho, of these 7 teams that are in the division, 4 of the teams are playing each other. That's Idaho and Allen are playing each other, as well as Tulsa and Kansas City, while Utah is hosting Cincinnati. Wichita will be playing the Iowa Heartlanders for 3 games, and then Rapid City is taking on Fort Wayne for 3 games. So the other 3 teams in the Mountain Division are taking on Central Division opponents this week. For Utah, their magic number is 6 to eliminate Tulsa, and it is 12 to eliminate both Wichita and Rapid City. Again, by virtue of both tiebreakers as well as just head-to-head matchups, none of those teams will be able to clinch a playoff spot this week. I know I mentioned on an earlier video that it was looking like the South Division was going to come down to the absolute last week. It looks like the Mountain Division might come down to the absolute last day of the season to know exactly what teams are going to the Kelly Cup playoffs as well as what the seedings will be. So that's the reason we're kind of glossing over things right here, is because there's not really a lot else that I can say about what's going on. Wichita's magic number is 6, and then their magic number is 12 to eliminate Rapid City. The Thunder have a really good chance this week. They visit Iowa on Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. Iowa, a very tough place to play, but for Wichita, they really have to feel like they're going up against the last place team. Those are games you got to have. Those are definitely chances that you have a really, really big opportunity to make up ground, especially with Utah playing the leader in the Central Division in Cincinnati at home. That's something you don't like to see, but with Rapid City playing in one of the tougher buildings in the league to play in at the Allen County War Memorial Coliseum in Fort Wayne, the fact that Rapid City has to take on the Comets, and they're right there nipping at your heels, and Kansas City taking on Tulsa makes you really feel like Wichita has a little bit of an opportunity here to make up some ground, especially with Idaho taking on Allen. I know that Allen is raring to go for that one, but that still feels like an opportunity that if Idaho is able to take care of business in Texas, that you have to feel like if you're the Wichita Thunder, that you have a chance to jump back up there and get back into second place. That's where they've held most of the season, is second place in that Mountain Division. So this is a really good chance for them to see if they can kind of recover from that and get back to where they feel like they belong. Magic number for Rapid City, by the way, is 7 for them to eliminate Tulsa. Rapid City playing 3 games, and then Tulsa playing 3 games means they will not be able to eliminate the Thunder this week. They would not be able to eliminate the Thunder, or not the Thunder, not be able to eliminate the Oilers this week. So that is where we stand with our Mountain Division. I don't have a lot of faith in Rapid City to get many, if any, points in Fort Wayne. That's always a very, very tough place to play. Fort Wayne knows that they need to start playing playoff hockey right now. The series I'm looking for, that I'm going to be watching the closest, is going to be Utah and Cincinnati. I know that Idaho, Allen, that's going to be some fantastic hockey to watch. So that's the second one that I'm going to be watching. But definitely Utah and Cincinnati. Cincinnati fighting for that Central Division championship, and then Utah fighting for their playoff lives. Those are going to be some incredibly entertaining games. So those are the interesting matchups that I have for the Mountain Division. Thanks for watching, folks. Next up, we're going to go over the Indy Fuel stats, what they did last week, a little bit of a recap of what happened, as well as what they have upcoming. So thanks for watching, and you Indy Fuel fans, stay tuned. That's what our next video is.